Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there, and welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This season, we're exploring the theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You. It's a powerful reminder that while beginnings can be daunting, they're also the gateway to growth, success, and happiness. Throughout this season, we are discussing how to push through those initial difficulties and take that important first step towards your big goals, even when it feels overwhelming. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Attilio. Hey there, Fran.
Hey, Gayla.
How's it going? We just came off of a trip of seeing each other the second time in person.
Yes, I feel spoiled and I hope it just continues and continues. We have a lot of fun together. To our listeners, this is all real. We had a blast on our trip. Yeah, I'm excited to be back though. That trip, for some reason, when I travel, I get re-energized on what I need to get going on and get home and do.
Traveling, especially, I don't know about you, but being on the airplane, there's like reflection time. Yeah, I might be reading or listening to a book on Audible or what have you, but just sitting and waiting for things, or even a lot of windshield time if I were driving. It's a great time to reflect. And I don't know about you, but I've had times in my life and career that I'm just like, my gosh, what am I doing? Am I on the right path? If we could talk about what if you're building a business originally was going to be, hey, I'm going to have all this freedom and whatever freedom, quote unquote, is, but I'm going to have all this freedom because I'm creating this business. But what if you're creating a prison instead? You wake up one day and you're like, oh my gosh, have you ever had these feelings?
I have. It was more in my corporate life, chasing titles, thinking that next title, things would be better. This feeling would go away, or this feeling would go away, or because I'd have this title, this would happen, and people would see me this way. I had all these expectations and projections. And then you get there, the only thing that's different is the title, And so it was, what happens is then as you title chase, the prison forms because now there's more expectations, the expectations on you are different, the time requirement. And then you would look back and go, oh, I was really happy where I was. Now I've built this prison though, and I don't know how to get out of it.
Well, I've found myself in building my business that I had these preconceived ideas of how the business model should be and how I wanted my personal life to blend with my professional life and how I wanted to do things. And I still have some mindset issues of what is it? I mean, my whole worth in this world is being compared to what other people are doing. And so maybe I should be having a business model in this way. And then I found myself feeling, hey, I'm just back to the way I was. I guess, for example, when I first started my business, I thought that I needed to have employees and build an agency, and realized that the work that it takes to build an agency and have that type of business model, it doesn't fit to what I really want to do in life. And I found myself each time I was taking a step toward an agency model versus a consultancy, that I was closing off some of the freedom that I really, truly enjoy. The freedom, it's not all financial. There's a component piece to financial that helps us with our freedom. You don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck or what have you. You need to have some stability there. But true freedom is being able to own your time.
That is so true.
And I found myself feeling like I wasn't owning my time. It is a mindset that it's like, oh, I need to be always working or people will perceive me as lazy.
Oh, Kayla, I so resonate with this. I mean, this is the start of year 6 for me, and I still battle that very disease. And I love the phrase own your time. It's like be responsible for what you decide to do with your time. There was a moment last year where one of my daughters got sick, and I had a meeting with you, and I apologized profusely that I canceled. And you said, Fran, this is why we have our own businesses. So we can make these shifts and you can go do that. That was still the old corporate mindset of me, like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be at my desk 9 to 5. This meeting can't happen. And it's funny, I say this to, I've just had this kind of realization in the past few months. If my employee would have come to me with that very issue that their child was sick, I would have said health and family first, go take care of it. I've created an environment where I allow my employees to live their lives. I didn't give that to myself. So be careful as a business owner that you may have created a beautiful, free flowing business and your employees have this beautiful life. Make sure you're including yourself. And owning your time is, especially in being a solopreneur, entrepreneur, owning your own business, I am able to do this in this moment. This is what needs to be done. And you'll pick up the other thing, the work part, in another space. And it's this flow. It's also this, instead of sitting there, say you had to do a lot more stuff during the normal work hours personally, nothing wrong with sitting on your couch with your laptop to catch up on email while you're hanging out with your family. There's ways to own that time and break that prison.
And you can choose how you address certain things like email, for example. Who said that you have to have an email with zero inbox? Who says that you personally are the one that needs to address every single email? Who's to say? You create your own boundaries, not only with other people, but with yourself. And I think that recognizing the signs, because I had for quite some time realized that, hey, I've got these employees and I need to be able to take care of them in a certain way and fit into the mold of traditional corporate structure because that's what, I'm supposed to, do that. I became more miserable and guilt and just like, this is not how I visualized how I wanted to be spending my time. And if I wanted to work 24/7 and enjoy that, then I guess I'd be still working in the medical field because that's kind of the hole I dug myself in. And at the time that was what I enjoyed and I really believed in it. But then there's just different seasons of life. And I created my business or I started my business. I mean, I had these dreams of having my own business, but it wasn't until the company I worked for was closing their doors that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Here, let me figure something else out. And I told myself and I told others is like, I don't want to find another job. I want to be able to have the freedom to work from anywhere, but I want to have the freedom to take care of my family, be there for my family when they need me the most. Then you get into this structure of what, as a business owner, this is what you should be doing. Build an agency, do this, whatever. And you have to give something up in order to achieve something else. My time is much more important to me than having a $10 million type of agency. And I don't want to work with just anybody just to have clients. I want to work with those clients that share the same values and really want to improve their live full, work fun type of life. I have been doing a lot of reflection and reassessing my vision and realized I'm able to schedule and be with family and incorporate my family instead in such much more meaningful ways. And I have to add, I feel like I show up for my clients in much more meaningful ways and devote that time and provide not just my clients with value, but my family with value. And it seems like, I don't know, this may be really weird to say, but just the meaning of my life just seems better. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't struggle with mindset issues and these tinges of guilt. This is what I should be doing. And you say, get should out of our head.
Yes, that is. I have a list of words that need to be eradicated from the dictionary. But I love what you're saying, Gayla. There was also some ways you gestured and things that you said that made me think of this. So, in order to know if you're in the right place, it is getting in tune with how you feel. And that means, like, when you're doing stuff, you're working for a client, does it make you tense up? Do you dread? Do you have feelings of dread or frustration? There's signs. There's signs. Our emotional reactions to the situations we face every day are signs. Pay attention to them. Because every time you say, no, but I have to, or I have to do this, or I should be doing this, because those signs don't go away. And those signs are what tell you what adjustments you have to make. And we know everything we need to make our lives better are right inside of us. There is this wonderful, beautiful internal mechanism called intuition. And we know there's a difference between intuition and then thought reaction. But intuition, there is a guide. And when you get those twinges, it's important to know often it means you're going against one of your principles or values that drive your life. And those principles and values should be your walking stick in life. And anybody, whether it be a client or whoever it may be, should not ask you to break those. So if you do, I love what you said, that you're reassessing your vision, like of where you want to be. If somebody does come along and challenges or asks you to do the opposite of those values, take a look. If they're not aligned, I think another challenge we face, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, is we think we're supposed to be auditioning for every client we talk to. And it's up, like, and if they don't hire us, there's something wrong. It's a two-way street. Is that client right for us? And I think what you're saying is, help me. In the beginning, I took everybody who said yes.
And we have to sometimes
And we had
because
to,
we're learning, but then we can transition. Honestly, when you first start a business and you're flying by the seat of your pants and things like that, you are learning what kind of client you want to work with. You don't go right out of the gate knowing that.
yeah, I agree. But that helps you define who you want to work with, which I think then helps you design what kind of business you want to run, your processes, your people. Like, all of a sudden it starts to come together. And that's where you can set your vision, right? Your purpose, promise, and principles. And now you have a guiding force behind you. I will say there are a few in the beginning, though. It's okay to say no if it really doesn't resonate. And there were a couple I should have said no to. Use all the information. And also this, on the journey, as these moments come up, just remember it's okay to change. Change is the beautiful part of this life. So just keep this process of evaluation and looking at what the next thing is. And then I think if that current place you're in isn't right or best for you, that's when you start saying, okay, what can I change? May not happen in the moment, might take some more time.
You say that it may not happen in the moment, which change does not happen overnight. What you do is the little incremental types of maybe setting different boundaries, not only with yourself, but with clients, and redefining that type of relationship, redefining the relationship and your perception with yourself. I mean, it's just, that's super important. You're in the moment, you don't realize that these tiny, tiny steps down the line, you are creating your future. And if you want to do something new and obtain something new, there's something, I mean, you focus on that direction, but there's something else that you must give up because there's only so much time to devote to certain things. So you have to really be, if you want 1 million subscribers, there's certain amount of work and devotion and frameworks or whatever there is out there. There's some good practices, and if that's really, really, really what you want to do, what are you going to give up? The goal and the trajectory that you want. If yes, then great. But what are you giving up, and are you willing to give up the opposite?
I'm going to put a
And
different spin. What are you willing to do, right? Because what you're willing to do, and then look at, well, okay, if I'm willing to do this action, what's the consequence? Okay, so to get to, I love that you picked this, to get to 1 million followers. How many times have we had people come and ask us that? That's like and why is it 1 million? Anyway, in order to get to 1 million followers, there's a financial component, there's a time component, there's a people resources component, there's a building content library. There's a whole bunch of things that go into 1 million followers. You don't just pay for some SEO optimization or some ads and it happens. It is a job in itself. Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to do the work? And in doing that work, because go back to season 8, people, and listen to our law of 100%. The only thing that is limited is our time. We are limitless beings, but only thing that's limited is time. So if you want these 1 million followers, and it takes that list we just talked about, which is probably a good chunk of your time, by putting that in your days and weeks and months, what do you have to give up? Are you going to sacrifice family time? Are you going to sacrifice your time on your bike? You can't have it all. You have to pick and where you're going to put your time. That's where I think sometimes we get lost on our goals and we find ourselves in these prisons because we start out with these goals that we haven't looked at. How am I going to get there? And am I willing to do those things to get there? And that's where the prison forms, because you keep seeing, but I want those 1 million followers, but I'm not getting there. And you feel stuck and the prison is formed around you.
we may want something, but we really need to evaluate the why. Why? If I want 1 million followers, why is that? What is the result of that? Is it just a number? And then, if you want to make better connections and have deeper relationships with your clients and have the longevity of your business, is really the 1 million followers the answer? And growing your community, is it a numbers game? Is that where your head is at, and that's how you can that cause a success in your mind? Great, go for it. If you have a different underlying why, so that you know that when you know your why for obtaining one thing, and the sacrifices become more meaningful, right? And so then you have the why waiting game. Wait, like heaviness game. It's like I want to spend more time with my family, but I want these 1 million followers, and your whys behind both of them. What can you do to weigh the whys? And sometimes, well, our goals have time limits attached to them. That helps drives us forward, and I'm not saying don't have time limits, because we want to figure out what the little pieces that we can do in our life to add up to achieving those goals. So I think weighing the pros and cons of the why we want to achieve something.
I'm going to give you another side of that coin because I love what you're saying. It's also within your own team. And I found myself in this trap. And so I'm sharing it. You want 1 million followers. You have a team that you work with that works under you. You start putting them on this, but they already have full workloads. Is that realistic? Is it realistic with the resources you have to say, you can't just keep layering on things. Something's going to have to go away. Does that mean you're going to have to not take on new clients? Does that mean, would you have to hire someone? Should you not put this on your current team and go to someone who this is their expertise and say, hey, I want to do this. Is this realistic? And what does it cost to do that? Sometimes we get so hooked on a goal and we are talking about that goal. And then the next day we're talking to our team about the client projects. Then the next day we're talking about the goal. We keep kind of going back and forth. And our team ends up in this ping pong of, well, which is it? Does she want me to grow us to 1 million followers, or do I need to get this client work done? And it can send the wrong messages. And that's another prison, because now you're stalling your people from being their best selves in the workplace. So just, I love the idea. Why do you want this thing? Because often when challenged, the expectation of the goal identifies the real goal. When you get into the why, which is what expectation, what projection, what does 1 million followers mean to you? It often has to do, there's often these words that come out, and we do this in SPC. When we're doing the strategy part, we talk about this and we get into, okay, if this is why you want what you want, what's the expectation? What do you think you're going to get out of that? So I love that. And, sometimes you need an outside source to kind of look at that with you and say, what do you think? And that's what you did for me when we went through creating my story brand.
Well, I love also how your SPC really evaluating everything to create a strategy to move forward to reach the goals of your business. And I love that, because I don't think that we wake up one day and just say, oh my gosh, I just hate my life that I've just created for myself, right?
Right.
It's a tinge, and we have challenges. Sometimes the challenges are that we're stuck at a place that we're like, oh, I just need to get over this hump. And sometimes it's just a little season that it's like, I'm not really loving things right now, but it's temporary. And then you find the love again in what you do and what you've created. But sometimes it's time to pivot and adjust. Well, within my own business, I was trying to create an agency, and I just knew that it's, for quite some time, it was not exactly how I wanted to have that business model. And two of my employees grew, and I want to call it took flight out of the nest. I love that, and really were drawn to different things than what I could provide. And really they're thriving in what they're doing. And it's like, I'm not gonna rehire and fill that position. That has forced me to evaluate my whole processes, and I came up with something different and more streamlined that helps my clients, right? And I believe that our workflows and our, streamlining things in our business helps us live full and work fun. And how can we do that? And so I'm just really excited about this new phase. It's not like I'm totally changing my business, but I'm also looking 10 years in advance on where do I want to be, and how would I want my business to evolve, or what do I want to be involved with? What little steps am I doing now to achieve that? And would just be comfortable with walking slowly. I love right now, I remember in my 20s and 30s, that rapid race up the ladder and what you had to do and all of that quote unquote productivity. And we talked about, busyness in business.
Yes.
That my leisure time or my still time is my wealth, I think. And that's what I'm just building for that.
You just touched on a really important part of this. There's two things that really resonate with what you said. One is, I'll start backwards, which is personally, each person needs to identify what is wealth and abundance to you. Put money aside. Everybody needs money. It's security. Put that aside. What is wealth and abundance to you? Make sure you know you're worthy of that. But the other thing is, one of the thoughts we need to change is that change is good. Change is a good thing. So when it comes up, yes, it can be scary. It can be overwhelming. It can be frustrating. It can be all kinds of other emotions. But at the core, if you feel a change is needed, if in that intuition spot, I grab my chest because that's where mine is. There's this knowing that change has to happen, embrace it. I recently was speaking to someone and they said, you achieved your dream, but you haven't pursued your passion. And my passion has changed. My dream was owning my own business since I was a little girl. I think I was 6 years old when I created my first business in my basement. Dream achieved. Awesome. Still more to do there, still more to grow there. But there's a passion that the fire has only been lit over the last few years, that I'm in the midst of a pivot myself. I'm in the midst of looking at my business model, like you, I took the word agency off my company. 10 Touch Creative used to be 10 Touch Creative Agency. It just feels like a word that just didn't resonate with me anymore. I'm started that pivot, but there's another this pivot is evolving. I'm still kind of in the crossroads of the pivot. And it's because I'm recognizing that I have this passion and this fire that I need to stoke that fire. I need to let that fire burn.
I love that. And we don't know, and it's okay not to know exactly how that's going to blossom
What it's going to
and
look like, I have no idea.
what it's going to look like. And we were talking off microphone that it's like revealing certain things is and a part of our journey is the little things, and that we discover and that we reveal and that we talk about. All of a sudden, then one day it's like, oh, I've achieved what I've wanted to achieve. I think I'd like to kind of wrap up by saying that we sometimes forget that we've achieved because it sneaks up on us. Owning my business, I reflected on, because I started feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm building a prison for myself, because I had those negative twingy feelings. But when I sat back and thought about it, it's like, oh my gosh, just like what you were saying. Hey, you achieved. You own your own business now. But that sneaks up onto us because we think of these things that we have not achieved. So when you're in this, okay, I'm starting to build a prison, figure out what these positives are. We need to recognize our achievements, because that will help us remember our why. We reconnect with our why. So do you have any last thoughts, Fran?
Just to amplify something you just said, celebrate where you are, whatever it is. Make a little list of the things you have accomplished today. Celebrate where you are. And if you're feeling like you're in the prison, just tune in. And it may not come today, it may not come tomorrow, but just start tuning in to what changes you could make to break out of that prison, because the person who has the key to that prison is you.
And we do have the power to bend those bars and move forward and get out of the prison that we create for ourselves. So remember, every successful journey begins with that first step. Take Fran's advice, make that list of all the successes. Don't let the start stop you from pursuing your dreams of creating the business and life you desire. We all have the power to live full and work fun.